All right, welcome inside the Academic Sports and Recreation Complex on the campus of West Liberty. Live on the Mountain East Digital Network, we got acrobatics and tumbling between the homestanding number 15 ranked in the country West Liberty Hilltoppers and the Stevenson Mustangs. I'm Jacob Davey, joined by Don Clegg. We'll take you through today's meet. Don, should have a good one today.
Well, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Of course, West Liberty started out with those, you played number 1 and number 2 team in the nation to start out your non-conference schedule. It's a challenge, but bounced back with a great win against Glenville State last weekend. Have Stevenson coming in here. They're 1-0, off to a nice start in their second season of competition in this sport, and really looking forward to what should be a good show.
Yes, Stevenson comes in 1-0. As you said, in their second season, they picked up a 186.66 to 113.35 victory over Caldwell at home last Sunday. Also last Sunday, the Hilltoppers picked up their first win over conference foe Glenville State after dropping their first 2 contests of the year against number 1 Baylor and number 2 Gannon. We'll get right into the action and start with the compulsory event. It's compulsory acro to kick things off. The Mustangs are first.
A little bit of a bobble on the left side. Good recovery. Nice flip, solid catch.
Up top for the Mustangs, number 3 Chandler Baskerville and number 17 Megan Desprez.
A little bit of an error on the right side. Recovery. That'll be a deduction, but up until that point, Stevenson has been off to a very good start. Just to get you up to speed here, they really rolled into this in a hurry, but all NCATA matches consist of 6 events with 20 total heats, and every match starts with a compulsory event. 4 heats in the compulsory event. We just saw Stevenson with the acro. West Liberty will be up next. Pyramid, toss, and tumbling will follow. Each heat has a start value of 10. The compulsory event's the only event in which each team is required to execute the same skills. For direct comparison, officials look for execution, body position, and stability of structures. Now, West Liberty will be up next, and we'll be seeing them do the exact same thing, the exact routine that Stevenson was doing.
Yeah, this compulsory event just kind of showcases the rest of the meet ahead of you. You go through the fundamentals of acrobatics and tumbling, the sport, and preview the next number of events.
Well, absolutely. These the skills that you're seeing here in these 4 compulsory events, and the reason that the NCATA, that's hard for me to say, puts it together like this, these particular skills are considered the building blocks of this sport. So what you're seeing here in the compulsories, you're going to see them again throughout the rest of this meet.
And all start values are 10 here in the compulsory. As you said, each team does the same routines, and then they'll get into their own specialties further on and get some start value differential.
Right. These 4 heats are set for a start value by the NCATA. Every meet has these 4 heats in the opening event. And now here comes West Liberty for their compulsory acro event.
Hilltoppers scored an 8 their last time out against Glenville State, averaging an 8.567. Tops are Avery Ray on the left and Kayla Gandy on the right.
Nicely done. Nice hold, good catch. Hilltoppers appear to be off to a good start. And well done. You can see the excitement on the Hilltopper sideline. All the coaches applauding. I think they're going to be expecting a nice score off of that. That's a great performance to get the meet off to a start.
Yeah, very well done. Start for the Hilltoppers. Joining Ray and Gandy out there was Katie Amborski, Jillian Hart, and Hannah Kolowarski on the left, and Abby Horvath, Paige McLaughlin, and Abby Swinterman on the right. Get a setup for the compulsory pyramid, one that the Hilltoppers set a program record in last meet with a 9.8.
And I think Stevenson had a very nice score in their compulsory pyramid as well there, Jacob. I think it might have been one of their highest scores of the meet.
Yes, it was an 8.9 in their season opener at home last Sunday. That was their best one of the compulsory event. And second best of the season opener behind the open pyramid, which is pretty much the same skill set.
And here come the Mustangs for the compulsory pyramid.
Up top, Megan Despres and Mackenzie Holland on the right.
Nice high catches, and I think we can see why Stevenson scored so highly in their first meet.
Yeah, pretty good effort there. Stayed synchronized and stable structures. That's all part of what the judges look into.
Absolutely. Now, Stevenson University, located in Owings Mills, Maryland, NCAA Division III program in its second season of acrobatics and tumbling competition. They, as we mentioned, 1-0 this season after knocking off NCAA Division III or Division II Caldwell, a mutual season opener last weekend. Caldwell making its acrobatics and tumbling debut, a fast-growing sport here, Jacob, emerging sport at the NCAA level. More than 50 schools now sponsor acrobatics and tumbling.
Yeah, the Mustangs, that was a program best score, 186.66 in their season opener this year, after scoring as high as 132 plus in the first year of the program in 2022. Now we'll have the Hilltoppers out for the compulsory pyramid, looking to build upon their school record last meet. Once again, Gandy and Ray up top. Mids are Sarah Lee on the left, Abby Swinterman on the right.
Once again, another solid performance from the black and gold.
That's been a strong point of the Hilltopper season so far, the pyramid structures and all the heats and events related to pyramids.
Yes, and even dating back to the start of the program several years ago, the pyramid always has been a strong suit for West Liberty. When you started out with Treasure Fields as our founding head coach, and Kelsey Cow came in a couple years later, and with her, both of them experienced acrobatics and tumblers in their own right. Kelsey nationally recognized for her performances at Fairmont State. So, no surprise that the Hilltoppers know what they're doing. Quickly now into the toss heat. And this has been a little bit more of a challenge for both teams, which by its very nature, this is a more challenging event.
Little movement on the catch, but made the catch.
Yes, and one thing the judges look for there is the high catch. Because again, safety is such an important part of everything under consideration here in this sport. The higher the catch, you don't want to let them get too low to the floor. You have a risk of a drop, contact with the catchers. So many things can go wrong, but very well handled by Stevenson on that take.
Set up the Hilltoppers for the compulsory toss.
Coming off their season best in this last week, Jacob, they had a 9.3 against Glenville State.
Yeah, it's a theme of their season. I go back to that a lot, but they've been improving scores each of their 3 meets this year. Looking to keep that going.
Yes, very young team, graduated a lot of talented upperclassmen, but rebuilding on the fly, head coach Kelsey Kyle.
Bella Paternoster was on the left up top, her first time up top for the Hilltoppers today.
And among the things the judges looking for, height of the toss, body position of the top throughout, and tight catches. So strength on the base is very important because to get that amplitude of the toss gives the top more time to perform her routine, and also it's just a more attractive event that way. So this sport has really caught on here at West Liberty, and it's unfortunate that we have to use this camera angle because you can't see the crowd right underneath of us. We have the seats blocked across the way, but they're performing all their skills and all their events facing a pretty good crowd that's come in for a Sunday afternoon meet.
Yeah, it's the last time the Hilltoppers are home for over a month. They won't be back till April 2nd.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is the third of a 3-meet homestand.
Got to take advantage of all the opportunities to catch them inside the ASRC.
Absolutely. Okay, final heat of the compulsory. This is the tumbling heat.
There's the Mustangs. Out there was Chandler Bakersville, Mackenzie Holland, Chrissy Carpenter, and Megan Desprez.
Yeah, pretty solid performance, I think, by Stevenson there. Judges looking at body position, continuity of skills, and technique. Again, this is a very challenging event, probably the most challenging of the 4 compulsories. Tend to see lower scores here. 3 judges at every NCATA meet, and with multiple athletes on the floor, and it's just easy to rack up deductions and start. Once you start adding up deductions, they can go pretty quickly.
Yeah, you talked about last time we were on the air about just so many different things in the tumbling portion of the event, so the deductions will really rack up on you. Stevenson, they're going to do better than their season opener score. They must have had some falls. They scored just a 2.0 in there.
Yes, and again, this is a very, very challenging event. West Liberty, most of their season highs are in the 9s for most of their heats. This one last week was, again, their season high against Glenville State, an 8.25. So, yeah, very challenging, but challenging for both squads. And as we wait for the judges to compile Stevenson's score, West Liberty will be next on the mat, and that'll wrap up our initial event of the meet.
Out for the Hilltoppers will be Kayla Gandy, Jillian Hartz, Paige McLaughlin, Abby Horvath, Avery Ray, Bella Paternoster, Audrey Prater, and Ellie Goodby.
Couple of tiny bobbles will be minor deductions, but nothing major. And solid landings all around. Coach is pretty happy with that, and that wraps up our first compulsory event.
Got a question for you, rules expert Don. Is there any extra deductions for Stevenson's, less participants in that compulsory tumbling event than West Liberty's larger roster?
Well, as the rules expert on this broadcast, I can honestly say that I do not know.
There we go.
But I can tell you that I think they have the option of however many participants they want to do, I think. And again, I would have to check that out later on, but
we'll check it at halftime.
Yeah, well, there we go. So, but right now we're waiting for the scores to come out. Good opportunity, I think, to meet our head coaches. Now, for Stevenson, it's a homecoming of sort for the second-year head coach, Emily Hosler. Graduated from Brook High School, which is located only about 10 minutes from our campus here, and she was a GA coach with the Hilltoppers in 2019. Hired as head coach at her alma mater the following season, spent 2 years there before coming to Stevenson as the founding head coach of the sport a year ago. And we've already mentioned West Liberty's Kelsey Kyle came to the Hilltop off an impressive collegiate run at Fairmont State. 4-year letter winner for the Falcons. 2019 MEC Specialist of the Year, capped her career by winning 4 individual event championships at the MEC Championships. Also a 2-time NCATA National Specialist of the Week. Kyle helped lead Fairmont to a top 5 national ranking and the number 5 seed at the 2019 NCATA Nationals.
And the scores are in from the opening compulsory heat or event. In the acro heat, West Liberty 9.25 to Stevenson 5.85. In the pyramid, 9.65 for West Liberty to 9.4 for Stevenson. In the toss, 9.25 to 8.95 in favor of West Liberty. And then in the tumbling, West Liberty scores an 8.3 and Stevenson a 2.95. Brings our meet total after one event. West Liberty in the lead, 36.45 to Stevenson's 27.15.
Well, looking at your tumbling score for Stevenson, I think we might have got your answer there, Jake.
I think we found the answer because they did better than a 2.9.
Yes, the athletes they had on the mat, I would agree with that. But that brings us to our next event, which is the acro event, and this begins the optional portion of the meet. Now, each team will perform its own routine based on a set of skills with different start values. Heats 1 and 3, teams can have up to 4 athletes participating, while Heat 2 features anywhere from 4 to 8. There are 5 elements in Heat 1, 6 elements in Heat 2, and 7 elements in Heat 3. Start values based on the difficulty of each skill. Each position must be held for at least 3 seconds. Officials will be focused on stability of structures and body position.
And the Mustangs will come out to start this acro event. Heat 1 will be the 5 element, starting with a start value of 9.0 for Stevenson. Out there is Kaylee Bauman, Mackenzie Estes, Paige Lazinski, and Chrissy Carpenter.
Again, looking for stability here. On a bit of a miscue. They'll try to reset. Okay, now I think would be a good time to point out that while Stevenson was obviously struggling, trying to get through that routine, giving their best, other side of the mat, we see the West Liberty team, and they're actually cheering and encouraging, because these young women, they start working out, they start training as soon as school starts in the fall. This is an incredibly challenging sport, an incredibly difficult sport. They live in the weight room, they live on the mats, and the shared experience between these two competitors, this is probably the definition of a friendly competition.
Yes, the sportsmanship always, it comes back to that here, and it's very strong in the sport of acrobatics and tumbling, and you're not competing. You are competing against each other, but you're not defending each other or something. You want them to do good.
Yeah, I like to compare it to golf, because I'm not very good at that either. But it is an event where you're actually competing more against yourself and the challenges of the sport than the one-on-one. It's not a boxing match.
You talk about the physical strength that it takes, especially for those bases, to hold up the athletes, and also the mental strength to be out there on the mat in front of, as you pointed out, a good crowd of a couple hundred people here inside the ASRC.
Yes, waiting for the judges to finish compiling the scores for Stevenson in the 5-element acro. Once that's done, the Hilltoppers will be on the mat for their 5-element acro performance.
Jillian Hartz will be up top, Bella Paternoster as well. Abby Swinderman and Hannah Kalawarski will be the bases. Paige Lawrence does the counting.
And just a note about the judges here, all regular season meets have 3 officials evaluating skill execution. They're designated as a head official, 2 execution officials. Now the head official responsible for meet management, oversight of all scoring throughout the meet. And the 2 execution officials apply deductions based on execution errors. And here come the Hilltoppers for their 5-element heat.
Start value by 9.75 for West Liberty. On the season, averaging 8.8.
Once again, judges looking for stability of structures, body position. You may have seen the counter in the background, counting off 1, 2, 3. As we mentioned, all positions must be held for a minimum of 3 seconds. Looked like a very solid performance for West Liberty there, Jacob.
Very solid. West Liberty improved, scored a 9.30, their season high last Sunday in the match against Glenville State. First time in the 9s of that 5-element.
Yes, Coach Cowell, again, just looking for steady improvement, building throughout the course of the season. All building up to the MEC Championships, I believe, April 14th to 15th, and then we will be hosting the NCATA Nationals at the end of the month. But before that, let's watch Stevenson in their 6-element acro heat.
Stevenson, this was their best acro event in their season opener, 7.45. Up top, Chandler Bakersville on the left, Megan Despres on the right.
A little loose on the left-hand side, but all in all, I think a nice bounce-back performance for the Mustangs.
Yeah, pretty good bounce back. Also out there with Bakersville and Despres was Chrissy Carpenter, Emma Brisnack, Alexis Gamble-Hill, Hope Bolanowski, Allison Ozimek, and Robin Skroger.
You know, getting back to last week's meet against Glenville State, that was one of the closest acrobatics and tumbling meet I've ever seen. I mean, there's 6 events in acrobatics and tumbling meet, and all 6 events, less than 2 points separated the team in that event score all the way through, and they get down to the end, and it's a team event, and again, that's like a gnat's eyelash. You're sitting there just bated breath waiting for the score. And the final score, it's like 249.410 for West Liberty, 248.805 for Glenville State. That's 0.6 of a point, and the most points possible. Out of 300 points,
he comes down.
It's unbelievable, and obviously that is the smallest margin of victory in Hilltopper history. But it was really, really exciting.
Yeah, it was a thrilling meet. Good to see the Hilltoppers come out on top, though, in the conference opener.
Now the Hilltoppers for their 6-element heat.
Now for the 6-element, Avery Ray and Kayla Gandy up top. Faces Paige McLaughlin, Sarah Lee on the left. Abby Horvath, Katie Borski on the right.
Good count, nice stability, body position. Coaches and athletes both very excited by that performance.
And this is the first year that event is synchronized between the two groups out there.
And something else for the judges to watch. And just to follow up on the duties of the judges, the head official, as we mentioned, responsible for meet management, oversight of all scoring. Now, the head official joins the execution officials in evaluation of skill execution only during the final event of the meet, which is the team event. Now, the execution officials, their duties are divided. There's 2 of them. One of them watches the tops. The other one watches the bases. And again, we're talking 5 elements, 6 elements, 7 elements. General rule of thumb, the more elements there are to judge, the more opportunities there are for deductions, and the scores tend to trend just a bit lower. However, for West Liberty, this year to date, the 6-element heat was 9.10. They're high against Glenville State, as you mentioned, Jacob. The 7-element heat, they threw up a 9.25 in their match versus number 2 ranked Gannon. Strong performance, again, with a lot of new faces on this Hilltopper roster.
We'll head into the 7-element. For the Mustangs, Marina Ruiz, Megan Despres, Robin Skroger, and Allison Ozimek. Start value of 9.30.
A little bit of a bobble. Good save. Didn't quite get to the full 3 seconds, but a great effort. And again, think of the strength of the base in this event. Full 3 seconds, nicely done. I believe the Mustangs will be happy with that one.
Coming up next for the Hilltoppers in the 7 element. You'll see Kayla Gandy up top, Abby Horvath, Chloe Palmer at base. Kylan Hartman will be the spotter.
Now, one of the nice things about hosting an event here at the ASRC, student athletes can complete their event on the mat, and then as soon as the event's over, we put the replay up on the video board. So right now, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but Stevenson's team and coaches are staring up at the video board for a quick review of their performance.
Very nice touch. And as you said, West Liberty will be hosting the NCATA National Championships here inside the ASRC, April 27th to 30. First four-day event in the history of the NCATA National Championships.
Yeah, I'm glad to see them go from a 3-day to a 4-day event. You know, what they did was they split the individual event championships and the team championships. They used to have, I believe, maybe wrong, individual championships in the morning, followed by the team championship in the afternoon. A lot of the same student athletes involved became a little bit of a injury concern. They spread it out, and I think it'll just make for a better show. Here's the Hilltoppers.
Start value of 10.0 for the Hilltoppers.
And nicely done.
And that completes the Acro event. We're rolling through this meet here on a Sunday afternoon on the Hilltop.
Absolutely. So we'll wait for the judges to compile the scores and see how this is matching up. And again, I don't pay a lot of attention to the team scores at this event. These are two programs at different points in their development. As we mentioned, Emily Hosmer came in to Stevenson a year ago to start up the new program. Was pulling kids in from tumbling, cheering, some other sports on campus so that they could compete a year ago. Actually got a full recruiting season. Brought some more kids in, and you can see that this program is building. It's on the rise, obviously not where they want it to be yet, but it's been leaps and bounds over the first season. We saw the same thing here with Treasure Field, starting what was a much, it was really a brand new sport to all of us. We didn't know anything about it, and so Treasure had to educate us as much as she did the kids. And all did a great job, laid a solid foundation, and here we come into this year. This is Kelsey's fourth year at the helm, and we open the season number 15 in the country. The path has been laid. Stevenson can follow the same route.
As you said, Stevenson building their program, improved their program best score by 50 points in their season opener this year. Scores are in for the Acro event. West Liberty takes all 3 heats. In Heat 1, 9.15 for the Hilltoppers to 2.85 for Stevenson. Heat 2, 9.25 for West Liberty, 7.1 for Stevenson. Heat 3, 8.7 for the Hilltoppers and 6.5 for the Mustangs. Total score from the Acro event, West Liberty 27.1, Stevenson 16.45. Brings our running meet total to 63.55 for the Hilltoppers and 43.6 for the Mustangs. So about a 20-point lead for West Liberty through 2 events.
So a little bit different from last Sunday when Glenville and West Liberty riding the seesaw all the way through, but still very entertaining and something to look forward to. Brings us to the 3rd event, the Pyramid event. Now this is going to wrap up the first half of today's meet. We'll have like a 15-minute intermission following this event. Athletes, well, let's watch Stevenson go through their first heat, and then I'll give you the details.
For the first heat for the Mustangs, Marina Ruiz, Chrissy Carpenter, Mackenzie Estes, Megan Despres, Hope Balawansky, and Paige Lazinski.
Okay, now Heat 1, you have to have an inversion and a twist of at least 90 degrees. There was the inversion. They couldn't quite hold it for 3 seconds.
And not quite a full twist there at the end as well.
Yeah, but the athletes build 3 layers in a structure with start values based on skill difficulty, structure, entry, and dismount. There's 3 heats. Now Heat 1, which we're in here, must have an inversion and a twist of 90 degrees or more. Heat 2 is a synchronized heat with 2 groups performing identical skills. Heat 3, an open heat, teams free to perform any combination of skills. Keys to watch again: structural stability, body position of the top.
Top 4 West Liberty coming out will be Kayla Gandy. Abby Swinterman will be the mid. Chloe Palmer, Peyton Fry bases. Paige McLaughlin tosser. Abby Horvath, Paige Lawrence, and Katie Borski will be catchers. Talked about the at least 90 degree twist. West Liberty has listed a 360 twist coming up for Gandy.
Well, that'll be something to watch for. And judges compiling the scores for Stevenson's performance in their first heat of the Pyramid event, the inversion heat. Waiting for West Liberty to take the mat.
West Liberty will be out with a 9.90 start value. Had the same start value for now the 4th straight match to start the season, averaging a 9.25 through 3 meets heading into today.
There you see the 3 layers. Inversion, nice high catch. You know, we mentioned acrobatics and tumbling being a relatively new sport. I mean, I think it was like back in 2009 it started. What it did, it really created a lot more opportunities for female student athletes to continue their competitive desires at the collegiate level. I mean, you think about so many young girls that are in dance class or competitive cheer or gymnastics or tumbling, and you know, and they would get to college and they wouldn't have any place to go. Now, acrobatics and tumbling provides an outlet for that.
Up next, we'll have the synchronized pyramid. Mustangs bring pretty much their whole squad out there to the mats. Scored a 6.95 in their season opener.
And once again, this is a synchronized event. We should be seeing mirror images on both sides. Stevenson off to a very good start. Nice high catch on the left. A little bit of bobble on the left, but all in all, a nice routine. And just to follow up on when we were talking about the opportunities for acrobatics and tumbling, you know, with more than 50 teams, and some of those teams having as many as 30, 40, 45 student athletes, that's a lot of opportunities to get kids to compete athletically at the collegiate level while continuing their academic careers as well. So, and according to the NCATA, research shows that participation in athletics for women, particularly at the collegiate level, leads to greater success in life and in their careers.
It's good research. And this is one of, get this, 29 varsity sports for the Mustangs. How would you like to be the SID there?
That is unbelievable. I remember talking to a friend of mine who was the former SID at Lindenwood, and they have more than 30 varsity sports and several club sports that are also fall under that umbrella. But I think he has a little larger staff than you do.
Here come the Hilltoppers for the synchronized pyramid, averaging a 9.3 through 3 meets heading into today. Gandy and Ray up top again. Lee and Swinterman are the mids. Palmer and Kalawarski are doing the back bends down there on the mat.
A nice sink and good high catches. The crowd certainly enjoyed it.
First time we saw the back bends in action today. That's kind of a staple of Coach Kyle I've seen through this early part of the season.
Yes, and again, we talk about the importance of strength in this sport and the importance of bases, and I think we referenced it a week ago that the bases are kind of the unsung heroes there.
Talked about being like the offensive line.
They're the offensive linemen, or line women, if you will, of acrobatics and tumbling. But just like the offensive line in football, if you don't have an offensive line, you don't have an offense. If you don't have good, strong, solid bases, it's very difficult to put together a good score in acrobatics and tumbling. And now for the open heat, Stevenson takes the mat, and again, this is a routine that they have selected for themselves.
Nearly the same crew as Heat 1 of this pyramid event. Out there for the Mustangs, Emily Sandbron joins them.
Very solid, couple minor bobbles, but no large deductions that I saw. I think they would be quite pleased.
And that was Stevenson's best event or heat at the season opener on Sunday with a 9-3 against Caldwell. And it looked pretty strong here again today.
Well, absolutely. And again, with the open heat, you get to select your own skills and the way that you combine them, which also is factored into the scoring. So logic would tend to indicate that you would have a little better chance of doing what you want to do instead of what somebody tells you have to do.
That's a strong point of the head coach there for the Mustangs. You talked about the strong bases. West Liberty has 2 all-conference bases. Former freshman of the year Abby Horvath and Paige McLaughlin ranked 2nd team honor last year. Chloe Palmer backbending for this open pyramid. Kayla Gandy up top. In the mid is Abby Swinterman. Paige McLaughlin will catch.
And a very solid controlled dismount.
Had a nice slow turn for Gandy. Comes down into the arms of McLaughlin.
And that wraps up the pyramid event. And actually wraps up the competition for the first half of today's meet. So we wait for the scores from the judges, and we'll have the obviously the individual heat scores, and we'll have the cumulative scores, and see what's going on at halftime for the Hilltoppers and whether they're able to build on that lead.
Solid first half for West Liberty. Stevenson hanging around, being in there, doing what they can do with the youth of the program.
I would agree, and I think probably Stevenson would be pretty pleased with their performance because, again, looking to improve over the course of the season. Now, they don't have enough active teams in their conference to have a conference meet. It's just the Mountain East Conference, and I believe Conference Carolinas are the only conferences at this point that have 6 or more active teams competing in the sport. Now that there will be more coming as we see the sport continue to grow. But even so, Stevenson, as a building program, they've built from last week to this week. It's a long journey, but you're just taking step after step.
Yeah, the Mustangs, the scores are in for this pyramid event. The Mustangs improved their season opener by 3 total points in the event. But West Liberty extends their lead by a little bit. In Heat 1, it was West Liberty 9.3 to Stevenson 8.85. Heat 2, West Liberty 9.15, Stevenson 8.25. Heat 3, West Liberty at 9.7 to a Stevenson Mustangs 9.1 in Heat 3. Brings the pyramid total to 28.15 for West Liberty, outscoring Stevenson to 26.2. And our meet total at halftime, West Liberty in front 91.7 to 69.8.
So a strong performance for Stevenson in the pyramid. 3 straight 9+s for the Hilltoppers.
9.7 for West Liberty, and that open was just under their season high of, I thought it was for a second, but the 9.8 against Keene.
Yeah, I had to look at that too. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the first half here with the Hilltoppers holding a 91.70 to 69.80 lead over Stevenson. Step aside for a few minutes, but we'll be back for the second half and the finish of today's acrobatics and tumbling meet.
The oldest institution of higher education in the state of West Virginia, we appreciate the impact we have on our community and beyond. From the students we serve, to the faculty and staff we employ, to the tens of thousands of graduates we've sent beyond the hilltop. You can find a part of West Liberty University anywhere you go. We strive to strengthen our community because that's who we are. We are the future. We are West Liberty University.
A new and exciting career is waiting for you with the 16-month BA, BS to BSN nursing program at West Liberty University. Take part in innovative learning on campus, gain practice in the advanced simulation and skills labs, and experience virtual reality immersion software, and complete clinical work in local hospitals or healthcare agencies. Qualifying students may also be eligible for a $25,000 financial award to help with tuition and fees. Get started today at westliberty.edu/nursing.
Are you a creative person who wants to help others? Then the Master of Arts in Art Therapy and Counseling might be just right for you. Our 3+2 Bridge program combines art and psychology to equip students to work with diverse populations of all ages, abilities, and disabilities in a variety of settings including education, community, healthcare, and forensics. Save time and money with WLU's 3+2 Bridge program, from undergraduate studies to a Master's of Arts in Art Therapy and Counseling.
Visit westliberty.edu/art-therapy.
Want a career working with animals? Check out the Zoo Science and Applied Conservation program at West Liberty University. With over 300 animals on campus, dedicated lab spaces, fieldwork and internships, and a partnership with the AZA-accredited Oglebay Good Zoo, you'll get hands-on experience with reptiles, amphibians, and mammals. Our unique program has everything you need to start an exciting career as a zookeeper, researcher, or conservation scientist. Find out more at westliberty.edu/zoosci.
Belmont Savings Bank is, we're very focused on our customers. The customer always comes first with us. You're not just a number, you're not just a box we check, you're actually meaningful to us, and we love to build relationships with our customers. A lot of banks just want to come and sell you on their most pricey, most fee income product, and we don't do that here. We love to sit down and figure out what's right for you, what's going to be good for you in the long run, and that's the difference at BSB.
Undo's Catering, family-owned since 1953. With 4 newly remodeled catering facilities throughout the Ohio Valley, Undo's can accommodate banquets from 25 to 700 guests. Undo's caters weddings, picnics, corporate events, holiday events, and job site drop-offs for the construction and oil and gas industry. Call 304-233-5566 today.
Undo, pride is our main ingredient. Undo's.
Every basket, every touchdown,
every goal, and every start.
It's possible because of you.
Help our student athletes compete in the classroom
and for championships
by joining the Hilltopper Athletic Club.
Panhandle difference.
We were very fortunate to have worked with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. The team that we worked with was extremely professional. They were flexible and very receptive to our needs during that difficult time, and it gave us the opportunity to open very quickly and get our casino up and running for our customers.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The health plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
What are you working for? Do you want to pursue your athletic potential while earning a degree that will benefit you for a lifetime? Do you want to play at the highest level in your sport? Do you want to be a champion? That's what the 12 proud members of the Mountain East Conference are advancing toward every day. providing opportunities and pursuing excellence. The Mountain East Conference.
If your bank offered new checking and savings accounts with a very low balance required, online bill pay, and debit cards issued right away.
I would like that.
What if that bank had extended hours every business day and were open on Saturdays and most holidays?
That's incredible.
And if all their accounts had low fees or no fees?
That's money in the bank. The right bank.
Open your checking and savings account at Main Street Bank. You deserve a bank this good.
Grab a meal at the Dirty Dog Tavern. Located at the top of the hill in West Liberty, Dirty Dog Tavern offers a family-friendly atmosphere with a full menu as well as adult beverages. Catch the game during weekday happy hours, play games like darts or pool, or enjoy the deck with your family and friends. Open Monday through Saturday at 4 p.m. and Sunday from noon to 8. Come to the Dirty Dog Tavern in the town of West Liberty, a proud supporter of Hilltopper Athletics.
Just like Danny, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training.
Go, Daddy.
Or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
The Panhandle Difference.
I immediately called Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration to see if they could clean and restore my home. Not only did they do that, but they even made it more beautiful than it was before the fire. If everyone ever has a tragedy like ours, I highly recommend you call Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
All right, welcome back inside the ASRC on the Hilltop for Acrobatics and Tumbling. Before we get into the second half of this meet, Hilltopper fans, don't forget to come out and support our men's and women's basketball teams in the Mountain East Conference Tournament at West Banco Arena next week. The WLU alumni is once again hosting the Topper Takeover across the street at River City Restaurant and Bar 2 hours before tip-off for every Hilltopper game. The schedules are set for the Mountain East Conference Tournament. The women will be playing Fairmont State in a late game on Thursday night at a scheduled start time of 8:30 p.m., while the number one seeded men will play in Friday's 6 p.m. quarterfinal against the winner of Wednesday's first round game between Concord and Alderson Broadus. The MEC tournament is 5 straight days of great basketball action, and it all tips off Wednesday in downtown Wheeling at West Banco Arena. We hope to see you there and at the Topper Takeover at River City Restaurant and Bar.
Yeah, those are really good times there. They started doing that a few years ago when the tournament came back to Wheeling. It had been in Charleston for years and years, and it's really become a special event. You know, if you're an alumni or you're a fan or a friend of the Hilltoppers, go to this Topper Takeover there across the street. It's a great restaurant and bar, and you'll see a lot of people you know, and they'll all be Hilltopper fans, and give a great 2 hours to get ready for some pretty exciting tournament basketball.
Yeah, one more thing about basketball, good close to the regular season last night. My bad. Last night against crosstown rival Wheeling, both teams picking up wins.
Absolutely, and both teams picking up revenge wins in very exciting fashion. Both came from behind in the second half. Corinne Thomas for the women, 27 second half points as the Hilltoppers came back to win. And of course, the men going over the century mark again for a double-digit win against the Cardinals.
And you were on the call for that. That had to be fun. A good season on the broadcast end. But let's get back to acrobatics and tumbling action. And what do we got ahead, Don?
Well, we got the toss event kicking off the second half of the meet. One of the most exciting events. 4 athletes tossing another teammate into the air and making the catch. Here on the mat, the Stevenson Mustangs.
Bakersville back up top for the Mustangs. Tossed in the air. Down catching was Mackenzie Estes, Megan Despres, Paige Lazinski, and Allison Ozimek.
Yeah, looked like a nice solid routine. Good high catch. And here's what the judges are looking for. The flyer or top executes a skill such as a twist or a flip, as we just saw, while airborne. And there's 3 heats. Now, the synchronized toss features 2 toss groups performing identical skills simultaneously. Now, start values all based on the skills performed in the air by the top. But for all 3 heats, officials focus on height of the toss, body position of the top throughout, and tight, high catches. Here's West Liberty.
West Liberty up their start value this meet, up to 9.4 from 9.0 earlier in the season. Kayla Gandy up top. Do a back full toss instead of a layout toss.
Really nice height on that toss. An excellent twist. Good catch. Team was pretty excited by that.
For sure, probably especially for the new skill out there, and they've executed it pretty well, doing the full instead of the layout. Gandy was up top, and Barsky and Kalawarski for bases. Abby Horvath in the back, Prater in the front.
And so that does it for what they call the 450 salto heat. And I have yet to talk to anybody that knows what a 450 salto is, but I obviously haven't talked to the right people.
Well, I had student coach Claudia up here for the first broadcast, and I asked her what the 450 salto was, and she had no clue what. She never heard about it.
Yeah. Well, but it's the first heat of the event.
That's the name of it.
And that brings us to the second heat, which is the synchronized event.
Stevenson with an 8.65 start value here.
And again, because this is a synchronized heat, you're looking for mirror images of each other on both sides. Pretty good synchronization. Didn't get a lot of height on the toss, but executed the skill fairly well.
Stevenson was pretty consistent in the low 7s of their season opener in the toss. Had a high of actually a little above the low 7s, a 7.6 in the open, which will be coming up. First we'll have the synchronized toss for West Liberty. Little change in this one. Jillian Hartz is in for Bella Paternoster on the left side. Sarah Lee will be the base with Abby Swinnerman on the left. In the back, Paige Lawrence, Paige McLaughlin in the front. And then group 2 on the right will be Kayla Gandy up top, Kalawarski and Barsky on the base, Horvath and Prater in the back and front.
Next to start value of 9.00. Here's the Hilltopper synchronized toss.
And once again, mirror images. Got a little bit off sync perhaps, but very solid execution, good height on the tosses and solid catches.
Got a couple steps on the left side of that catch. Might go into the change in personnel a little bit, but pretty overall good performance for the Hilltoppers.
Now here are the details for what the judges are looking for, and again, these are quality judges, a lot of them with an gymnastics background, scored gymnastics meets, which really feeds well into this sport. In the catch, the top should maintain what they call a hollow body position. In other words, you want to try to be as nearly flat as possible as opposed to a little bit of a pike. And if the top's head or toes are much higher than her hips, the catch may be deducted. Again, trying to avoid the pike position. So, and the top should also be caught, as we've been mentioning, near the shoulders of the bases. Catching too low or too high could also result in a deduction.
Head to the open toss. Stevenson, 8.65 star value. Out for the Mustangs is Dixon, Sandbron, Bresnak, Scroger, and Carpenter.
And you could see the top trying to maintain that flat body position on the catch, and that was a nice high shoulder catch. Pretty good performance for Stevenson Mustangs. Waiting for the judges to compile the scores, and then the open heat for the Hilltoppers will bring down the curtain on the toss event.
In the open toss for West Liberty, start value 925 will be Avery Ray up top, Sarah Lee at base, Swinderman also at base, Paige McLaughlin front, Paige Lawrence back. A lot of familiar names as we get into the second half of this meet. Athletes competing in multiple different events. You said there is a limit to what they compete in, right?
There is. And I think West Liberty does have a couple student athletes that do compete in the max. Yeah, a flip and a twist. Nice high catch. Well done. Excellent execution there, I believe.
Yeah, front full toss for Ray up top.
Well, as we said, that wraps up the toss event. As we wait for the judges to compile the scores, let's look and see a little bit of history here for acrobatics and tumbling. I think I mentioned it was like 2009 it started. It actually was. So the movement began in 2009. Coaches interested in a new pathway to create a new format for competition. And so the NCATA officially formed. Coaches, administrators formed it in 2010, and it was focused on providing student athletes a safe and inclusive opportunity to compete at the varsity collegiate level. The aim was to address interests and abilities of cheerleaders and gymnasts in various disciplines. Well, let's see if we have our scores. I think we do.
And scores, yeah, they're in for the toss event. West Liberty, another narrow edge extending their lead. In Heat 1, West Liberty 8.85 to Stevenson 8.25. West Liberty 8.2 to Stevenson 7.15 in Heat 2. And then in Heat 3, West Liberty scored an 8.35, outscoring the Mustangs, who had a 7.90 for a toss event total of the Hilltoppers 25.4. And the Mustangs, 25.3. That brings our meet total to the Hilltoppers, 117.1. And Stevenson, 93.1.
Well, I think Coach Cow's going to be pretty tickled with that, because that's two season highs right there, Jacob. The 450 Salto heat, our previous high was 835 against Gannon. And that is 8.85, I believe. That's outstanding. And they followed that right up with the synchronized heat. Scored an 8.20, first time over 8 this year's. Previous high, 7.95, also against Gannon. Sets the stage for the tumbling event. The penultimate event of today's meet Also the longest with 6 heats. First 3 heats are the duo, trio, and quad passes. Stevenson on deck for the duo pass.
Allison Ozimek and Kaylee Bauman on the mats. Bauman on the far side, Ozimek near side. And these once again are supposed to be synchronized, so a little deduction there.
Yeah, the first 3 heats, synchronized group tumbling passes, 2, 3, and 4 athletes, obviously named duo, trio, and quad. And the last 3 passes, individual tumbling passes, aerial, 6-element, and open. Start values determined by the difficulties of the skills and how they're combined in the performance, and the body position, continuity of skills, and the overall technique. Primary points of emphasis for our judges.
Kayla Gandy and Jillian Hartz will be in the duo tumbling for West Liberty. Start values are raised for this duo, up to 9.4 for the Hilltoppers. Up a large amount, actually, from 8.75 previously, earlier in the season. Adding a whip to a 1.5 in their skill set.
Well, and again, this is the process. As the season progresses, you work on these skills, and the higher the start value that you can execute, the higher the score you can register.
If this is the second of 2 heats that Coach Kyle raised the start value in.
All right, that's the start value.
Gandy near side, Hart's far side on your screen.
That'll be a little bit of a deduction going off the mat with both feet, a little bit more significant than going off with 1 foot. But overall, that was very well synced, and I think the skills themselves were well performed. So we'll see what effect that has on the score.
Just the added momentum of that whip and the 1.5 kind of took Gandy off the mat a little bit. Potential for a school record, actually, because school record's 8.8. Their previous start values were below that. Now they're up above 9.4. So,
well, like I said,
we'll see how many deductions they get. Yeah.
And again, talking about the scores, so many different elements included in these tumbling passes, and we're going to start adding more and more athletes here with the duo, the trio, the quad. More athletes, more elements, more opportunity for deductions. Scores tend to trend a little bit lower.
Coming up in the trio, it will be the Mustangs. Out there will be Mackenzie Holland, Chrissy Carpenter, Megan Despres. Stevenson scored a 5.85 in their season opener out of a start value of 8.5. We got a little break. We'll give a shout out to Coach Irwin and the wrestling squad. Third straight Super Regional Championship was secured. Team title for the Hilltoppers yesterday up in Tiffin, and qualified 8 individuals to the national tournament coming up in 2 weeks.
It came within a whisker of getting 9 there.
Yeah, Kyvon Grace, freshman, great freshman season, but 1 spot short.
1 point loss in the 3rd place match. Here's Stevenson. Nice sink, a little bit of a bobble in the middle, but all in all, pretty good routine. And the Mustangs seem pleased with it as they turn to watch on the overhead screen.
Hilltoppers will throw out there Savannah Rinchetti, Bella Paternoster, and Audrey Prater. Round off back handspring and 1.5. And a trio pass.
Yeah, and I've talked to the student athletes, previously about this, and they said the hardest part of the meet is this right here, where you've already seen the other team compete, and now you're up, and you have to wait, and it's just, you're going over your routine, you're going over your skills, and you're trying to get yourself psyched while remaining calm at the same time, and it's a challenge.
That goes back to last Sunday when, in that meet where it was a dead heat, and Glenville State did their team event, and the Hilltoppers had to wait right on the edge of the mats, think it over for a couple seconds, but ultimately came away with the win. We got Rinchetti, Paternoster, and Prater.
Now you see a staggered start here. Come back to that in a second. And missed landing at the top. That'll be a deduction, but the staggered start doesn't really impact anything for the sink. The sink is the combination of skills. And some, the student athletes don't all come in the same size. Some have longer strides. Some have execute skills at a different amplitude, and it's just a matter of the feet, the hands all hitting the mat at the same time. So we wait for the judges to compile the scores from the trio heat.
And we'll add another student athlete out there, this time for the quad pass.
And again, the quad pass, one of the most challenging heats of any event. And looking at West Liberty's high scores for the season, and we'll get back to that as Stevenson ready to take the mat for their quad pass.
Out there for the Mustangs will be Chandler Bakersville, Stephanie Dixon, Mackenzie Estes, and Marina Ruiz. For the Stevenson Mustangs on the mat in the quad pass.
And one missed landing, but overall pretty well performed. Once again, judges looking for body position, continuity of skills, and technique. Now the quad pass, getting back to what we were referencing as being one of the most challenging, West Liberty's high scores for the season for each heat, the quad pass is the only one that's below 8. The high score was 7.85 against Gannon on February 24th.
Yeah, and a school record over the 6th year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Acrobatics and tumbling is just an 8.1, so this is a difficult skill. We have a change in the lineup today. Sarah Lee is in for Kate Lowry. Ellie Goodby and Paige McLaughlin will also be out there for the Hilltoppers. Avery Ray on the mat as well. They'll feature a skill set of a round off, back handspring, and a back full to finish it off. Start value of 8.5 for the black and gold.
And again, with a start value of 8.5 and 4 competitors on the mat, not a lot of headroom there for deductions.
Yeah, just stay above 8, yeah.
You really, really have to try to nail your skills as best you can and remain in sync with your teammates.
Very nice. That might stay above an 8.
Well, they've certainly given themselves a chance. The coaches liked it, and the team.
Wasn't much movement on the landings.
No.
They were in sync.
Running through the tunnel of triumph, as they refer to it.
And we talked about it last time, just how much fun these student athletes have down there on the mat, competing, dancing around in between the heats and events.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a fun event, I mean, for student athletes and for spectators as well. I mean, if you get a chance to come out to an Acro and tumbling meet, I guarantee you'll be entertained.
And we got the best in the country coming here to the Hilltop April 27th through the 30th, NCATA.
And I can tell you, we had Baylor come in here a few years ago, #1 team in the nation, and you're sitting mat side watching these girls perform, and it is impressive to the extreme. Here's Stevenson. Individual aerial pass, well done.
Chrissy Carpenter for the Mustangs. Flying through the air and on the mat.
Gets a hug from head coach Emily Hosler coming off the mat.
This will bring up Kayla Gandy for the Hilltoppers. Aerial pass. Start value at 9.6 on the season. West Liberty averaging an 8.6. Scored above a 9 the past 2.
I think the season high was also the Gannon meet, 9.15.
Gandy will be coming in from the top left corner. Transfer student here on the Hilltop. A good get for Coach Kyle. Competes in the maximum number of events, I would say.
Yeah, I'll say one thing for Kelsey. She casts a wide recruiting net. I mean, we have student athletes from Canada, from California, from Texas, from Oregon, along with a lot of here from the tri-state area. Here we go. And well done. Big hug from Coach Kyle. Be interesting to see what that score adds up to.
You get the list of skills that Gandy performs out there. A front handspring, front tug, round off, back handspring, and a 1.5 finish. She executed that to a T pretty much.
Yes, and good height on the flip, good amplitude, good speed coming across the mat. Waiting now for Stevenson and their 6-element pass, I believe. This is the next to last heat of the tumbling event, which will lead up to the finale, the team event. And if you've never seen the team event, folks, you're in for a treat. As many as 24 athletes on the mat simultaneously performing different routines to music. It's exciting.
With an 8.45 start value out there for the Mustangs in the 6-element tumbling heat will be Mackenzie Holland coming in from the top right.
A little bit of a bobble on the land, but a good catch and a solid routine for Mackenzie Holland.
Holland scored just a tick over 8.025 in her season opener at home. The Mustangs scored above an 8 in each of these final 3 heats. The aerial 6-element and open passes of the tumbling event gained some momentum into their team event. The season opener having another strong performance from the last 2, Chrissy Carpenter and Mackenzie Holland. The aerial and 6-element. Hold its left is Megan Despres in the open.
And as they compile the scores, we're waiting for West Liberty in the 6-element pass. And up for the Hilltoppers, number 5, Audrey Prater. We were just talking about the wide recruiting net. Audrey Prater, a 5'4" freshman from Wiley East High School in Wiley, Texas.
Had a nice homecoming in Texas.
That's
down at Baylor.
That's true. You know, I watched that telecast. They referenced her. A little bit of a homecoming for her. And actually, I think they're two. Yeah, Avery Ray is from Katy, Texas, which is, of course, Nolan Ryan's old stomping ground. You know, my hero from baseball.
Prater coming in from the top left, start value 9.5.
Nailed the landing. Outstanding for Audrey Prater. Lost a little momentum midway through the routine, but regained it and finished strong.
Yeah, she's been improving each of the meets this season. Had a fall down in Baylor with a 7.125, and then went up to an 8.45 against Gannon in the home opener, and then last Sunday an 8.575, and another strong performance, potentially going to increase it again this week. Well, this heads to our final individual event. The open pass tumbling heat. Out for the Mustangs. Megan Despres wearing number 17. Scored an 8-1 out of an 8.5 start value in the season opener.
The way for judges, just to give you a heads up on what it means to be an NCAA emerging sport. So as of August 2020, the NCAA recognized acrobatics and tumbling as part of the Emerging Sports for Women program and is investing in its growth to potentially become an NCAA championship sport. We'll get back to that here in a second.
Despres on the mat for Mustangs.
A nice solid routine, good landing. Now, in order to be eligible, we mentioned there are 51 schools that currently have acrobatics and tumbling program either active or in the formative stages. To be eligible for NCAA championship status, you have to have 40 competing teams within a division. Now, these schools, as we mentioned, Stevenson is Division III, we are Division II. You know, Baylor obviously is a Division I school, as is Quinnipiac and several other schools. And all but Division II, which really was the genesis of this movement, is getting pretty close to that magic number of 40. They're well above 30 now, and as teams continue to grow, I think within the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see acrobatics and tumbling between it become a championship sport in Division II.
Jillian Hart's up with a 9.40 start value. Very nice finish. She added a whip to a 1.5 in this skill set repertoire today. Upped her start value by 0.3. And she delivered.
And not to put the announcer's jinx on them, which I'm famous for in our basketball broadcasts, but I think through these first 5 events, I think Coach Cowell's probably pretty pleased with the performance and the improvements that she's seen both individually and as a group.
Before we get into these scores after the tumbling event, remind you that to save the date for the 7th annual Topper Day of Giving coming up on April 5th. It's your chance to be a part of the WLU Foundation's 24 Hours of Giving. Your gift to the annual fund or the program that matters the most to you will help ensure a bright future for all Hilltoppers. For more information or to make an early gift today, visit WLUfoundation.org/Day of Giving.
Yeah, that Day of Giving, they've been doing that for a few years now. I really like the way they set it up, and it's so important to the athletic department and the student-athlete experience. It enables us to really take care of our student-athletes and the development part, but they set it up nice. Because it's athletics, they set it up as a competitive thing. Every sport has its own little window. You know, they do their own graphics and fundraising. They'll make the calls and stuff, and it's really, really well done. So again, really encourage you to take part in that.
Yeah, and you can give to whatever program you want. If you want the acrobatics and tumbling, the general fund, all that. But for now, the scores are in the tumbling event. Got a lot of numbers for you through 6 heats, but here they come. West Liberty in Heat 1, 8.40 to Stevenson's 3.55. Heat 2, Stevenson won their first heat of the day, 7.85 to 7.20. Heat 3, West Liberty 8.25 to Stevenson's 4.60. In Heat 4, the Hilltoppers scored a 9.35 and Stevenson an 8.40. Heat 5, West Liberty 8.45 and Stevenson 8.075. And then in Heat 6, West Liberty 9.025 to the Mustangs 8.225. So our tumbling event totals, West Liberty outscores the Mustangs by nearly 10 points, 50.675 to 40.7, and brings our meet total heading into our final event, the team event, West Liberty in a commanding lead of 167.775 to 133.80.
And again, as we surmised, Jacob, several more season highs set by the Hilltoppers in that event. Your eyes are better than mine, but I think 3, possibly 4 of the 6 heats were season highs. You know, but getting back to what we were talking about before a couple minutes ago, this team event coming up is really something special. It's the final event, and a lot of times it'll determine the winner because there's still a ton of points available. You know, because start values for the team event often can exceed the combined start values for all 3 events from the opening half. And what it does, it combines all the skills from the previous 5 events, puts them on display with up to 24 athletes, tightly choreographed routines set to music. Exciting, energizing, a lot of fun to watch. Officials evaluate synchronization, body position, stability of structures, and technique. Getting ready to strike up the band for Stevenson.
All 16 athletes for the Mustangs here competing on the mat.
ladies and gentlemen, the Stevenson Mustangs.
Right at the buzzer, too. We haven't mentioned the timer in today's meet, but the team event is limited to 2 minutes 45 seconds, and they yelled Mustangs right at the horn.
Absolutely, and it may look like controlled chaos, and you can put skills together in any combination you want, but there are requirements. In fact, there's a laundry list of requirements. 30 acro elements, 4 groups must synchronize a 3-element sequence. 5 tosses, 3 of them have to be synchronized. 4 pyramids, 2 of them synchronized. 21 individual standing tumbling passes, 12 must be synchronized. 21 running tumbling passes, 12 must be synchronized. And dance, a minimum of 2 8 counts. They start working on this in September.
I bet, for sure.
And
Coach Kyle probably before that choreographing and everything. So.
Absolutely. They work together on that. And even once the season gets underway, they continue tweaking, adjusting, seeing what works best. Always a work in progress.
West Liberty averaging an 83.50 in the team event, had a season best 86.26 in a big moment to secure the win by a half a point or so it was over Glenville State on Sunday.
Oh, it was more than 0.6 of a point.
There we go. A little more breathing room for the Hilltoppers. Right. There's a little change in today's team event. The pyramid a little bit different, Coach Kyle pointed out to me. Injury during the practices this week. I'll do a little change, but...
Yeah, the execution deadline's exactly the same in a team event as in the previous events. Larger deductions are applied if an athlete falls or doesn't complete a skill because, yes, they are checking their list. Now, if you're wondering how judges follow all this, officials, and there's different ways to do it, but officials generally watch a third of the mat, but they follow all tumbling passes originating in their section of the mat all the way through to completion. And teams, to help them out, do submit a diagram prior to the meet outlining the order of skills and where they'll take place on the mat. And to ensure officials can clearly see all skills, teams do a walkthrough of their routine for the judges during warm-ups. That allows the officials to confirm their sight lines as they prepare to evaluate the event in real time during the meet.
Start values have varied just a little bit by less than a point throughout the 4 matches now, or 4 meets this season. This is a 100.48 for the Hilltoppers, the lowest, but lowest by 0.4 of a point this season.
And again, a little bit of a longer delay, but understandable with so many different moving parts to evaluate for the 3 judges. And again, this is the event where the head official steps in as an evaluator and scorer as well.
This is kind of like the moment you talked about, just standing off to the mat. They got to wait and think about everything, and they just want to get out there and compete and do their thing in this team event.
Yeah, you can see them over there. Some girls twisting, doing stretches, keeping themselves loose.
Others replaying the whole event in their mind, making sure they know what's going on at the last second.
And even 1 or 2 dancing in time with the music playing over the PA system.
And as we've said, or you've said throughout this meet, more elements in a event, and especially this team event with everything going on, the judges will take a little bit longer to compile their scores and more opportunities for deductions.
You know, high team score for the Hilltoppers in a meet this year is the 249.4 that they posted against Glenville last week. program high, a 2:66.395, also against Glenville a year ago. And now, the West Liberty Hilltoppers in their team event. One of the pyramids unable to compete. Multiple inversions. All held for 3 seconds. Three synchronized tosses. Nice synchronization on the running tumbling passes. Once again, right on the buzzer, Jacob.
And there's the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, did have the one pyramid that collapsed, but outside of that, I think there was a lot to like for head coach Kyle in that team event.
Yeah, that might have went back to the injury, some different personnel in the pyramid structures for this team event. Before we get the final scores, we'll take a look at the road ahead for the Hilltoppers, and it is the road ahead for sure. It is at Frostburg State, at King University, at Notre Dame College, and then at Kutztown University, all in the month of March, starting with a March 3rd road trip to Frostburg State.
Yeah, and on the, not to interrupt, but on the mat right now, a youth tumbling school actually came in here to perform for us, and really excited to see these young girls out there competing. We have an opportunity to let them put their skills on display, and maybe some future Hilltoppers out on the mat. Jacob, you never know.
You never know. It's good to see them out there, though, and give them this opportunity to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that road ahead, that is a challenging road to be sure. We talk about Frostburg State, King University, Frostburg State, number 12 in the country. King, number 11 in the country. Notre Dame, just getting underway here as an acro program in the Mountain East Conference. That's another conference match for West Liberty. And then Kutztown, also a relatively young program. And again, next up for the Hilltoppers, as you said, Friday night, they go to Frostburg, and that's a big match. I mean, Frostburg really came on strong last year at the end. They pushed Fairmont to the max in the championship, lost by only a couple points, and they're off to a 2-0 start. They beat King in their season opener by 14 points, which is a huge margin in acrobatics and tumbling. And coming off a blowout win against Notre Dame yesterday, they're 2-0 and off to a terrific start. That'll be a big test for the Hilltoppers when they beat King. You know, we talked about the Hilltoppers' highest score, 266. Frostburg went over 270 against King out of a possible 300. That's pretty strong stuff.
Pretty strong. And now we got the youth crew on the mat. Before we get the final scores today, take a joy and watch this.
Jacob, I think that deserves a wow.
Very cool to see.
Maybe we should have had a tri-meet. Great to see those kids, and terrific performance by the young ladies. And they're not done
yet.
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
A little camera shot.
That's awesome. There we go.
That was good.
Yes, what you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of our sport. And shout out to these young ladies for doing it, and a shout out for their coaches for sticking with it. There we go. Nothing to be camera shy about. Well done.
Just round of applause of the couple hundred fans in attendance here, and both teams. Now back to the collegiate meets. We have the final results in. The Hilltoppers get their second win of the year in the team event. West Liberty scores a 78.80 and Stevenson a 64.52. That's a final score. West Liberty's 246.655 to Stevenson's 198.320.
So the Hilltoppers square their record at 2-2 on the season and get ready to head out for a long road trip. Stevenson comes away with a school record team total, so both teams.
Yes, both teams got to be pretty pleased of what happened here today inside the ASRC. West Liberty improves to 2-2 on the year. Stevenson moves to 1-1.
And as the teams get together on the mat to shake hands and congratulate each other, I think it's time for us to step aside, Jacob.
All right, well, it'll be aside for a while. April 2nd, we'll be back on the air on the Mountain East Digital Network for Acrobatics and Tumbling Tri-Meet between the Hilltoppers, Davidson Elkins, and Fairmont State. Until then, West Liberty is on the road for 4 straight starting Friday at Frostburg State. Stay tuned for all the coverage of every meet this season online at hilltoppersports.com. For Don Clegg, I'm Jacob Davey signing off from the Academic Sports and Recreation Center. West Liberty wins it 246.655 to 198.320 over the Stevenson Mustangs.